Today we're looking at 20 of the most loved British catchphrases.
Now don't be a plonker.
Oh, friend!
Garlic bread!
I'm above it.
That is funny, man.
I'm above that.
Aha!
So much of what bonds us as Brits is shared culture, and there is no better example than our TV catchphrases. But hold on, what is a catchphrase? A catchphrase is a well-known sentence or phrase that is associated with a particular person. It is repeated multiple times so that it becomes familiar to the audience. For example, the name's Bond. James Bond. We use catchphrases in everyday conversations to bring humour and fun to what we're saying. Now, I could have made this list twice as long, but I've tried to condense it down to 20 of the best. So, if you're ready, here we go. We start with an absolute classic from one of Britain's best loved sitcoms, Only Fools and Horses. Set in London in the 1980s, it starred David Jason as Del Boy, a lovable market trader who spends his life trying to become a millionaire and failing every time. There are a few famous catchphrases from this show, but the classic one is Lovely Jubbly.
Lovely jubbly. Yay, lovely jubbly.
A phrase Brits use to express delight or approval. Del Boy often said it while rubbing his hands together with glee. Lovely jubbly. So if you ever need to show that you are pleased by something, you can say, lovely jubbly. Now, while we're here, I'd like to pick out another catchphrase from this show.
Oh, you plonker.
Well, that's the idea of it, you plonker.
Now don't be a plonker.
What a 42-carat plonker you really are.
Don't be a plonker.
You plonker. Now, Rodney is Del Boy's hapless younger brother who would often make mistakes and get the blame for something. Now, this would cause Del Boy to say his famous line, Rodney, you plonker. Now, a plonker is a slang term for an idiot. These days, it's used by anyone who wants to tell another person that they're an idiot. So you can just insert someone else's name and away you go. Tom, you plonker. Our next catchphrase comes from reality TV show The Apprentice, hosted by tough-talking businessman Sir Alan Sugar.
Stephen, you're fired. Sarah, you're fired. You're fired.
He used this phrase to eliminate contestants from the show, and if you ever want to eliminate a friend, just say you're fired. Number 4 is a personal favourite of mine.
I'm off, mate. See you soon.
All right, mate.
Who was that?
Just a friend.
You've made a new friend? Oh, a friend? Since when have you had other friends? Oh, friend. Don't forget the thumbs up. Oh, friend. Oh, new friend. Oh, friend. Please be my friend. Oh, friend.
This comes from one of my favourite comedies, The INBETWEENERS, a show about a group of ridiculous adolescents who get up to all kinds of mischief. In the scene, Jay tells his 3 other mates that he has a friend that he knows from football. Surprised that he has a friend outside of their friendship group, the boys take it in turns to tease Jay about this mysterious new friend by saying, oh, friend.
Oh, friend. Please be my friend. Oh, friend.
Now, it can be used in conjunction with a double thumbs up, so, oh, friend. It's got so widely known that even Premier League football player Jamie Vardy used it when teasing his Danish teammate Kasper Schmeichel and a fellow Danish football player by saying, Danish friends, Danish friends. So the next time your mate says, I'm just meeting up with my friend from university, you can simply say, uni friend. If you love learning about British culture and British English, then you should check out my book, A Really British Guide to English. There's a whole section on British TV catchphrases, as well as many, many other things. You can buy it directly from me in the link below, or you can go to Amazon. It's up to you. Oh, and it's also available as an ebook. The link is in the description below. Number 5, to me, to you. To me, to you. Back in the day, there was a kids' TV show called CHUCKLEVISION. Alright, this one's going to need some explaining. Essentially, it was a show about 2 brothers, Barry and Paul Chuckle, who did different tasks and jobs in each episode, usually with disastrous consequences. It was physical slapstick comedy that was perfect for an audience of kids. Now, whenever they moved something, like a table or a desk, they would say, to me, to you, to me, to you, and it's kind of stuck.
To me, to you, to you. Oh, that's it. Is it? Come on, that's got it. Right, I'll get the cases. Whoa, 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 whoa. To me, steady. Right, hold it there. Hold it there. To you then. Right, to you. You got it.
So whenever I move something with a friend, we'll often adopt that Yorkshire accent and say, to me, to you, to me, to you. It's one of those things from childhood that you just carry into adult life and you don't really question why. Perhaps one of the most iconic catchphrases on here, am I bothered? It comes from the Catherine Tate show and is uttered by surly schoolgirl Lauren Cooper to show disdain for anything and everything. It's now used by anyone to show that they don't care about something.
That is bad.
Am I bothered?
That is funny, man.
Am I bothered though?
Take the shame, man.
No, because I ain't bothered.
You better shut yourself up there though, innit?
No, I ain't, because I ain't bothered.
Now you'll notice the pronunciation of the TH in bothered. She says it with a V sound, so it's bothered, bothered. This is something we call TH fronting. It's common in some British English accents to do this. So brother would be brother, mother would be mother, and bother, bother, right? Am I bothered? Again, this is one you can use with your friends to show that you have disdain for something. Number 7 is a catchphrase very much from a certain time and place. Comedian Harry Enfield coined the phrase in the 1980s as a reaction to the policies of Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government, who encouraged capitalism to thrive at the expense of traditional industries and trade unions. Large swathes of the country were sent into decline, but the urban elite, and in particular yuppies, thrived. Harry Enfield captured this with his loads of money character, who would boast about how much money he had by holding wads of notes and shouting in a thick Cockney accent, loads of money. And again, that's kind of stuck.
And Wimbledon last week and bought up all their shares, didn't I? 30 quid each, I'm selling them for 200. I'm gonna make loads of money.
This catchphrase was made famous by Matt Lucas, who played character Andy. He would be pushed around in his wheelchair and he'd point to things and go, I want that one, in a kind of curious northern accent.
Be on the safe side, why don't we get a film with guns in it as well, just in case you don't like this one?
I want that one.
Why don't you have the caramel tub then? You like the caramel tub, it's caramel.
I want that one.
Matt Lucas has gone on to present the Great British Bake Off, and he delighted viewers by bringing back his Little Britain catchphrase and using it in the show.
Tastes amazing.
Yeah, can you book me one for lunch,
Yeah, I'll book you one, yeah, no worries.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
And this is proof that these catchphrases live long after the original show. So the next time your friend gives you an option, do you want this biscuit or this biscuit? You can point and go, I want that one. BBC hit show from the 1960s and 70s. Dad's Army followed a group of Home Guard soldiers as they defended Britain in the Second World War. Unfortunately, they were utterly hopeless. Now this of course led to some hilarious episodes and lots of slapstick comedy. The show has several memorable catchphrases, but the one I've picked out is Mr. Jones's, "Don't panic," which he said any time he had a fit of anxiety sweep over him, which was quite often in the show.
Panic! Don't panic!
Don't panic.
Don't panic! Don't panic! Don't panic!
It's the perfect humorous release. If you ever find yourself in a worrying, anxiety-ridden situation, just do a Mr. Jones. Don't panic! Don't panic! This catchphrase comes from British TV's grumpiest character, Victor Meldrew, from One Foot in the Grave. It's a sitcom about an old man struggling to come to terms with the modern world and who finds everything in his life exasperating. To show his frustration, he used the catchphrase, I don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I don't believe it. Oh, I do not believe it.
Now you might be thinking, why are most of these shows from the 80s, 90s and noughties? Well, I guess the simple answer is that in those days, we all sat down as a nation and watched the same shows, so there was a sense of shared popular culture. Because we didn't have YouTube or Netflix, we all watched the same things, and so catchphrases became more well known and recognizable. In many ways, meme culture is the evolution of catchphrases. One of my favourites is "Damn, Daniel," and borrows very much from the traditions of shared cultural experiences. Perhaps these days there's a sense of an insider's club to memes. Like if you know, you know. For example, if I said "Damn, Daniel" with a bunch of my friends, I'm running the risk of them not getting it because they haven't seen the original meme or social media post. However, with the catchphrases we're looking at today, there was a collective knowledge of them. And so when you used one, you were almost guaranteed that the people you were with would understand what it was from. Anyway, let's move on to a more modern one. This is our first catchphrase from a British TV advertisement. The price comparison site Compare the Market have an ad campaign that features a family of Russian meerkats. The joke being that in a Russian accent, market sounds like meerkats. I'll spare you my Russian accent, you can try it at home. The catchphrase "simples" was used to show how uncomplicated their website was.
Currents, meerkats, two very different things. Listen there, jingle. Listen mine. Compare the meerkats. Don't even sound same. Compare the meerkat.com, compare the market.com. Simples.
As another example of catchphrases making it into pop culture, check out this clip of former British Prime Minister Theresa May dropping simples into a parliamentary debate. Get ready to cringe.
If he wants to end the uncertainty and deal with the issues he raised in his response to my statement, then he should vote for a deal. Simples.
Much loved BBC comedy Blackadder was a series set over many eras, from the British Middle Ages right through to World War I. Each season has the same characters, just at different points in history. The catchphrase "I have a cunning plan" came from Baldric, a famously stupid character who invented fanciful ideas to help the main protagonist Blackadder when he found himself in difficulty. Essentially, whenever Baldric says "I have a cunning plan," it was usually followed by a suggestion that was totally ridiculous.
Oh God, what are we going to do?
Don't worry, Mr. B. I have a cunning plan to solve the problem.
So if you ever have an idea or a plan, you can introduce it by saying, "I have a cunning plan." The Far Show was a comedy sketch show from the 1990s. It had loads of memorable catchphrases that you'd hear every week. One of them stood out because it was so applicable to everyday life.
I can do an impression of Frank Spencer. Ooh, Betty! Ooh! Ooh, Betty! Ooh! I'll get me Coke.
It was said by a man with a Brummie accent who would always manage to say something offensive or idiotic. As soon as he realised that he'd caused offence, he'd say, "I'll get me coat. I'll get me coat." And then he'd leave.
I'll get me Coke.
It's the perfect phrase for when you said something stupid and you want to extract yourself from that situation in an amusing way. I've used this one several times. It's particularly good if you've told a joke that no one understood. You say the joke, there's total silence, "I'll get me Coke." Bolton comedian Peter Kay completely changed the way a whole nation said a certain food item with his legendary stand-up routine live at the top of the tower.
What? Garlic bread? Garlic bread? Garlic? Bread? Am I hearing you right? Garlic bread?
Anyone ordering garlic bread after the year 2000 has to fight the urge to not say garlic bread. I personally can't see the word garlic bread on a menu without hearing him say it in my head. A British sitcom about a restaurant set in France during the German occupation in the Second World War. Hello Hello had many famous catchphrases. Possibly the most notable was said in a very thick French accent by Michelle, one of the French resistance.
Michelle, why are you here?
Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once.
Rene, there is
no brie. I ate it last night. Listen, I shall say this only once.
Renee! Michelle has something to tell us.
Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. What is it you are going to say? I haven't said it yet.
You'll notice the TH of this becoming this. It's the perfect phrase if you want to sound secretive and conspiratorial, but you have to say it in a French accent. Now listen very carefully. I shall only say this once. Going back to the 1970s, this catchphrase has endured through the generations. It was used by the Daleks to announce their intention to kill. Now it's a phrase that I've heard in my nightmares, and I've also spent many a break time at school chasing my friends shouting exterminate in a slightly dodgy robotic voice. You should try it. The voice, I mean, not the chasing friends part. Another personal favourite of mine, Alan Partridge, is a comedy character played by Steve Coogan. Partridge was a down-on-his-luck broadcaster who had a tendency to put his foot in it and say the wrong thing at the wrong time. The character is best known for this catchphrase. Aha! He would say it when he was greeting guests on his show, Knowing Me, Knowing You. This, if you didn't know, is a lyric from an ABBA song, Knowing Me, Knowing You. And then he would say, aha. Aha! One of Britain's best-loved sitcoms, The Royal Family brought us one of the most satisfying catchphrases to use in everyday conversations.
Pasta my ass. Feng shui my ass. Olive oil my ass. Chillax, chillax, chillax my ass.
Said by Jim Royal, played by Ricky Tomlinson. It was said whenever he didn't believe something to be true. It's incredibly enjoyable to say, especially when you adopt his nasal Mancunian accent. My ass. We've all experienced the call with the IT department where the first question they ask is this.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Well, the IT crowd turned this into a catchphrase.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Hello, IT. Yeah, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Our final catchphrase, and there are hundreds more that I couldn't fit in, is this oldie but a goodie.
Thank you very much indeed. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and children. Welcome to the Generation Game. Nice to see you.
It comes from a TV presenter called Bruce Forsyth, who sadly passed away in 2017. He would use it to greet the audience at the beginning of every show, and somehow it became part of our national lexicon. If somebody says to me, nice to see you, there's a chance that in my brain I'm going, to see you nice. Now it doesn't make any sense, and if I said it to the person they'd probably look at me really strangely, but it's a part of British culture. Now the fun of this phrase, and perhaps why it was so successful, is that when Bruce Forsyth would say the first bit, he'd say nice to see you, and then the audience would shout nice together. I don't know, it's a quirky British thing that has lasted through the years. Okay, I'd like you to put into the comments below any other famous British catchphrases that you know, particularly from TV. Maybe I'll do a film catchphrase video another time. And of course guys, please check out my book, A Really British Guide to English, which has a whole section on catchphrases as well as many other British cultural things. Alright guys, until next time, this is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.